Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here on episode 2592 of the Cabral Concept. These are our weekend Cabral HouseCalls. If you would like to read along with the questions, that would be amazing. Head on over to stephencabral.com/2592. You can see what has been written in on this weekend, this Sunday, as we're going through these questions. And of course, we appreciate your support no matter what day you're listening to the weekend host calls. All right, let's get into it. All things wellness, weight loss, weight gain, anti-aging, everything in between. Feel free to ask. If I don't know the answer, I'll simply let you know I don't know the answer, and I will refer you to a place to be able to find that. So again, we are just opening the document right now. I don't do any pre-prep work on this. And what I want to do is not give you a thesis, like a whole plan on what to do. I want to give you a place to get started. I want to give you what you might have been missing along with your doctor, your health coach, whoever it might be, just as a different perspective. That's all. It just doesn't, it means like, I'm not the only person you should listen to. What I want to do is add a little bit more on. That's all. Okay. So hopefully this is helpful. Let's dive right into the show. First one is from Anonymous, and Anonymous says, what are the signs and symptoms of low copper? Really good question. And I don't know that I've ever done a podcast on that. So I'm actually going to probably do a podcast on this in the future. But I'm going to answer your question right now. So the signs and symptoms of low copper, and by the way, the best way to run copper is through a minerals and metals test. Like hands down, the best way to run zinc and the best way to run copper, without a doubt, is here. You'll see the actual excretion and you'll see the ratio, because you can't just start supplementing copper if you don't know your zinc. That will push down your zinc, and it could cause hair loss. It could cause low immunity and so much more. So what I would love for you to do is you can literally just run this test. It's fairly inexpensive. And you can find that at stephencabral.com/labs. It's the minerals and metals test. You can also run the starter kit, which is great too, because then you get your vitamins on that lab and your gut function and your mitochondria. Plus, you get all the minerals and heavy metals as well. That's called the starter kit. All of those are at stephencabral.com/labs, or run them with an integrative health practitioner level 2. They are qualified and amazing all over the world. You can find them at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. And they all run their own health practice. I have nothing to do with their practices. All right. So what's going on with low copper? We typically see low copper affecting the thyroid and mitochondria. So that's going to show up as like brain fog, fatigue, low mood, exercise intolerance, muscle weakness. That's a big part of it. And then poor blood flow, poor circulation to the extremities. So like maybe paler skin, sometimes it's referred to as pallor. Let's see what else. Cold hands, cold feet. It's not the only thing with copper, but that certainly can be a part of it. Graying hair, like premature graying of hair. Like everybody gets gray hair eventually. Like that's just the way that it works with our bodies. The oxidative stress, the wearing down of the body. I've never met anybody whose hair does not eventually turn gray, right? It's just anywhere between like, well, some people start to get it late 20s and some people not until they're usually like maybe their 50s. But like it's within that time frame. It's typically mid 30s, later 30s, and then beyond. And then it just slowly accumulates. Or the more stress you're under, the faster those hairs go gray. Or again, lack of copper. The last one really is that low body temperature anemia based. And that's important. And it can also, the last part can lead to low white blood cells if you see low white blood cells. Not the only reason, but these are things to look for. All right. So hopefully that was helpful. I'll probably do a whole podcast on how it works, how copper interacts with the body, why it's so important, and then how to take it in conjunction with zinc. The product that I recommend is called Balanced Zinc. You can find that at stephencabral.com/shop. That's the product I personally use myself. All right. Another Anonymous is up. Hey, Doc, love the show and all you do. Thank you, Anonymous. On a few different episodes, I've heard you use some form of the phrase, if you didn't have it as a kid to indicate that some toxicity or imbalance occurred at some point during the course of life to cause a symptom. My question is regarding low body temperature, which I've heard you say is a sign of sluggish metabolism. My body temperature has always been between 97 and 97.5, even as a baby, so I was wondering if you knew of anything that could cause this from birth, as opposed to something that was triggered by lifestyle, environmental exposure, etc., since this abnormality was present at birth. Yeah, happy to help. So, I mean, here's the thing, like, all of that is absolutely possible. But let's look at what causes low body temperature in general. Well, we just talked about one, right? Like copper, as part of thyroid could lead to lower body temperature. All right, so we know thyroid could be one of those. Some people have I don't want to use the word weaker, but less optimal thyroid function. That's it. So we want to assess thyroid, right? We want to look at exaggerated levels of stress hormones. Okay, that would be cortisol and some neurotransmitters like norepinephrine. We'd want to then look at lack of iron, lack of certain B vitamins like folate or B12. We already talked about copper. Lack of vitamin C is another one. Calcium, magnesium are somewhat regulators, carriers of those, so not as important, but that's important to look at too. And then there's anything autoimmune-based, like inflammation-based, that might be an issue. So these are all things to look into, like without a doubt. And yes, they can be present from birth. People can have imbalanced gut microbiome from birth. So like just don't, like I don't want to discount it. These are imbalances. It's not part of the natural human condition as to how we're meant to be, but that doesn't mean they can't be present. They absolutely can. So for example, what if you were getting antibiotics, like when your mom was delivering, right? Or there was a bacterial overgrowth, or it was a cesarean birth and there wasn't the same type of vaginal-based delivery where you would have got some of the flora as well to populate your digestive tract. So there's all sorts of different reasons. I mean, heavy metals is one. What if you were born with higher levels of mercury or aluminum? So what do I recommend? I always recommend the Big Five. If you're able to run the Big Five, run the Big Five, see what's going on. And if you want to go even deeper on your gut, run the bacteria and parasite stool test. And again, those are at stephencabral.com/labs. All right, great question. Haley's up next. Hi, I've been gradually making changes with guidance of the rain barrel effect, and I'm scheduled with a safe dentist to have one amalgam filling removed next month. However, after seeing my brother-in-law, who's a dentist, I'm having some pause based on this information he shared with me regarding the discrediting and license provoking of Hal Huggins. My brother-in-law claims you would have to have 3 times the amount of teeth in your mouth, all covered in amalgams, to experience the effects of any mercury leakage. Of course, I would ideally still like to have it removed, as I still don't want this material in my body, but given I am in the middle of PA school and it is quite expensive, postponing is appealing to me. Just wondering if you have any clarifying advice to offer. Thank you. Yeah, happy to help. So keep in mind, what I want to do is I want to be a beacon as a non-biased form of information about health in general. And so when I'm talking about holistic and safe dentistry, I'm always referring to one organization, which is the IOAMT.org. And that is a whole body from around the world of dentists. So these are dentists, all talking about the harmful effects of mercury, fluoride, and other things. So here's what I want to talk about, because I don't want to disagree with your brother-in-law. When mercury amalgams or silver amalgams or any type of silver filling, again, we're using silver loosely because it's not actually silver, right? Is that in the beginning when they're sealed, now there's certainly mercury in the beginning, like when you first get them put in, but when they are sealed, they're sealed. Here's the difference, that every person is different. There's no, you can't say you'd have to have 3 times the amount of teeth, because that's not necessarily true. Some people have mercury amalgams covering pretty much all of their teeth and molars in their mouth. And sometimes it covers like the entire top of the molar. Some are much smaller. Who's going to be more affected? Well, probably the person with more, but not always, because it also goes back to genetics and DNA, like single nucleotide polymorphisms. If you're someone who's being exposed to small amounts of mercury on a daily basis, there's no safe amount of mercury, by the way, for your body. So over time, 10, 20, 30 years of having these mercury amalgams in your mouth, and they start to turn up, and there is microscopic leaching of those from chewing or grinding your teeth at night, there's definitely exposure. Now, those people with MTHFR and COMT gene genetic mutations are going to have a much more likely hardship with that inflammation in their body. There is no safe amount of mercury to put in your mouth. There's no safe amount of mercury to consume in your body. There's no safe amount of fluoride to swallow in your body. You can make an argument that you could put it on your teeth. I won't even go through that argument today, but there's no safe amount. So here's the thing. Also, the studies don't look at mercury or fluoride over time. They look at what is the generally regarded as safe, GRAS, right? What's generally regarded as safe maximum dosage, like that isn't lethal, right? So it's like nothing or lethal. So I would be cautious on both ends, saying that, you're going to die if you have mercury amalgams in your mouth. And then the other side is like, oh no, they're perfectly safe. I don't think that it's either, but I think that anything that is unnatural to the body and can accumulate over time and absolutely does get worse over time, there's a reason why they need to be replaced, right? Because they're literally not coming apart, but they're turning up. That needs to be rectified. So do you need to do it right now? It depends on the person. It's like, how sick is the person right now? Could this be a contributing factor? If they run a lab test and they have higher levels of mercury and it's not coming from anything else, well, yeah, this could be a real issue, right? So do you need to do it right now? I can't tell you that, right? But if you're healthy, everything's going well, and you want to postpone it, well, then you'll do all the other things just to keep the body healthy, and you'll wait on that, and then you'll be able to do it when you're ready. So hopefully that was helpful. I did two at the same time. This is a bunch of years back. I'm glad that I did it. I don't want it in my body. So that was my choice. Everybody has to make their own choice. All right? All right, that's good. We'll keep it at that. I could go on and on all day. Pamela's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I really enjoyed your podcast, and I want to thank you for all the wonderful information I've learned from you. My question is about bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. I'm a post-menopausal woman. I'm 57 years old, and recently started to see a naturopathic doctor to optimize my health. On my intake form, the ND saw that when I menstruated, I had painful periods and heavy bleeding. I also had many years of fertility issues. The ND also mentioned to me that bioidentical hormone replacement therapy would help to protect against breast cancer, and it would also allow me to have a deeper, better sleep. I presently am able to fall asleep no problem, but often wake around 4:30 and have difficulty going back to sleep. I am unsure about taking hormone therapy and would appreciate any information you can provide. Thank you again. Okay, so I've done many, many podcasts on this. Honestly, I don't believe, so you're 57 years old. I get it. I understand. We have to be careful saying that hormone replacement is going to protect against breast cancer. There is a form of hormone replacement called estriol, or striol, it's sometimes pronounced as estriol, that is more protective, especially as a compounding cream that women would rub on their breasts. The other forms are actually more pro-cancer. Higher levels of estrogen, especially estradiol, can lead to greater levels of cancer. So I'm sure she was probably saying that, recommending that. I would look at that. What we do in our practice is radically different. We actually look at working on the balance between estrogen and progesterone. So if a woman is postmenopausal, we're simply looking at what is the body's ability to create healthy levels of estrogen and progesterone. We run a stress, mood, and metabolism test. That's how we look at hormones. We look at the free forms. We will give estrogen support, which is an herbal product, and or progesterone support. And we will use DHEA, which is a parent hormone that can flow down to either one of those as needed. So we do it in a more natural manner. I prefer it that way because it can also be a lack of magnesium. It could be a lack of zinc, vitamin C, which helps with the adrenals. The adrenals are going to help produce DHEA, right? Or at least balance that. So, we just do it differently. So you can use hormone replacement therapy if you would like. It is not, I know that you're seeing a naturopathic doctor, and there's just a new school of naturopathic doctors that lean more on pharmaceutical-based therapeutics like hormone replacement than they may more natural health-based modalities. I'm not saying that it's wrong to do. We just don't use it anywhere near the first step and would only use it after exhausting all other conditions. So that's our philosophy. It doesn't mean that it has to be yours, but that is our philosophy. You can run the Big Five or the stress, mood, and metabolism if you want a natural health-based methodology of looking at, and if possible, again, running the Big Five. All right, let's do one more question. And it's from Eric. Eric said, when I was younger, my parents got my tonsils and adenoids removed because I was snoring a large amount. Are there any long-term effects to that? Anything I can do to help? Yeah, I'm in the same boat, so I totally know what you're saying. The adenoids are basically behind the nasal passages, going down the throat, in the back of the throat, back of your mouth. You've got your tonsils. They're essentially lymph nodes. They help to take all the lymph from the facial and sinus-based area. They move it to the lymph nodes, adenoids or tonsils. Tonsils are the larger ones. And that's basically a cleaning station. White blood cells will help to destroy viruses there. So what I've noticed is that I have a lot more puffiness. Like I have more puffiness in my eyes and my face, especially after sleeping. So a couple things. One, they removed my adenoids when I was younger, but they didn't remove them fully. That was what I was told when I was 21, when I had them removed a second time. I had my tonsils removed around 10 years old or so, because why did I have them removed though? Food sensitivities, sensitivity to dairy, environmental allergies, cold, sickness. Like I didn't have to have them removed. My daughters had swollen tonsils as well. I have a whole tonsil protocol. I talked about that before. But they're good now, right? And so but again, you and I are in the same boat. We had them removed. What do we have to worry about? Well, drainage, right? We literally have to worry about where the lymph can move through the body. So when I wake up in the morning, a little puffy, what I try to do is just some facial massage. You could do gua sha or facial massage to help move that lymph. I typically take a really hot washcloth at night and then in the morning, and I do basically like a steam on my face. That heat moves the lymph, and then with some either argan oil, or now I'm using like the One Skin moisturizer. I just move that and I do a facial massage just to move the lymph through. And so it's great for overall skin and anti-aging, but also good for people without the adenoids and the tonsils. And then always just making sure that the nasal passages, you do stay clean and clear. Sometimes you might want to use a neti pot. I don't do it every day, but when I'm not feeling well, I certainly use a neti pot and the Nasacort nasal spray as well to clean all that out and keep things moving. So Eric, hopefully that was helpful, and I'm sure you'll be just fine, to be honest with you. But just keep in mind, that lymph is cut off a bit from those lymph nodes, and it just needs to move down then to the clavicle area where the next set of larger lymph nodes are. All right. Take care, everybody. Hope this was helpful. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Motivation and Mindset Monday. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.